Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, I think. We've got a
Mm,
stack of material all focused on this big question. How do you actually build a life? A strong life, one that's resilient, maybe even magnificent, that can genuinely thrive no matter what gets thrown at it.
right. And we're kicking off with a really helpful analogy I found from the sources. Think of it like building, say, the coolest Lego castle imaginable. That foundation. It's absolutely everything. You need it to be strong, solid enough for that moment when life inevitable comes along and, kicks the table.
Yeah, the metaphorical table kick, we've all been there.
Yeah.
So our mission here is to pull out the really key parts of that foundation. We're digging into three core things that seem linked. Character, wisdom, which you definitely need, and the sort of daily power of making choices.
Yeah.
These seem to be the elements that let you stay effective, keep going, even when the world gets really messy, which it does.
That certainly does. That's a great mission. Okay, so let's dive into the first one, maybe the bedrock.
Character. Okay. When you talk about character, I think most of us jump to just meaning, like being a good person.
Hmm.
But the sources we looked at, they push back on that a bit. They frame it as something much more active, dynamic. It's defined more like the capacity to just keep trying when things are genuinely hard. It's that ability to, stay brave, stay kind, even when the rules seem to change or your resources get taken away, the metaphorical toys or the whole game shifts.
And what really jumps out there is the philosophical angle on the will. The argument is that, okay, your options might get limited. You could lose money, opportunities, whatever. But that power to decide, your inner will, that can't actually be stopped. The choice to, say, go another round or find a different approach or just aim somewhere else, that's always yours. And this idea of perseverance is, well, it's pretty radical. It suggests that true character can't be growing by anything external. Only death stops it. You always have that power to decide how you'll hold on.
That sounds intense, doesn't it? That only death can stop your will. I mean, does the material talk about huge failures or trauma? Because those things feel like they can stop you in your tracks.
Oh, absolutely. They definitely acknowledge the pain, the real limitations that events like that put on your options, no question. But the distinction they keep making, and it's crucial, is that even intense pain or loss doesn't take away your final power to decide how you respond. That internal power, that sort of last lever of choice, that always remains. And that's what they're defining as character.
Okay. Which then highlights the big barrier to changing things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If that will is always there, why do we get stuck sometimes?
Yeah.
Just paralyzed by problems. And the sources are kind of blunt here. You cannot change what you refuse to look at or confront. So bravery means actually facing the problem. Pretending it's not there, whether it's money trouble or a bad relationship pattern, that's the opposite of character.
Exactly. And that willingness to look at it, define it, and keep going, that's what sets you up for long-term effectiveness. This brings us to that ancient Greek saying from Heraclitus, character is fate.
Right. That one always hits hard. But unpack it a little for us. Like when we size someone up today in work or choosing a partner, maybe we tend to look at their credentials, right? Where they went to school, their job title, their recent wins. Why does Heraclitus say character is a better predictor of fate than all that stuff?
Well, because titles, credentials, even a good track record, those can be based on luck or chance or, getting into a top school because your parents pulled strings.
Yeah.
Those are external things, often down to chance. But character, that determines what you do when the luck changes or when real difficulty hits. So if you're looking to actually advance your own position in life, long-term character, that inner engine for trying and facing reality, that's probably the best lever you've got. It dictates if you grab opportunity, sure, but maybe more importantly, if you survive the inevitable setbacks.
Okay, so character is the strength, that
Yeah.
internal drive to keep going. But what guides that drive? Because just being strong isn't always enough, is it? The sources suggest you need something else. And this is where wisdom comes in. There's that quote from La Rochefoucauld. It is not enough to have great qualities. We should also have the management of them.
That's such a brilliant point. Yeah, it means raw talent, great qualities, they can actually be a liability if you don't know how to use them properly, like having a powerful tool with no instructions. Life, the sources say explicitly, is a thinking person's game. Character might keep you standing after a hit, but wisdom tells you where to aim your next punch, or maybe when to duck instead.
So how do you get wisdom? It's not like it just shows up.
No, definitely not. It seems it's earned, mostly by doing hard things, things we often don't want to do. The sources talk about things like practicing piano or, cleaning your workspace or tackling some complex project you're dreading. They see these as exercise for your brain. It's not just about getting the task done. It's about training your mind to handle complexity, to delay gratification. That process makes you wiser.
That reminds me of that definition of discipline referenced here from Cus D'Amato, the boxing trainer. It's one of my favorites. It's not just making yourself do the thing you hate. It's doing what you hate, but doing it like you love it. Can we talk about that mental switch? Because that feels key.
Oh, it's absolutely key. It's the difference between just slogging through something and actually growing from it.
Yeah.
If you do something you hate, but you do it grudgingly, you get the bare minimum result, right? And you probably build resentment. But D'Amato's idea forces you to find the value in the discomfort itself. You have to find a way to love the process of getting discipline, or maybe love the outcome so much that it changes how you feel about the action. Like you clean your room not because you enjoy scrubbing, but because you love the feeling of clarity and control afterwards. That
Yeah.
mental flip, that's what really builds wisdom.
And without that earned wisdom, the material's pretty clear. Life's problems, career choices, ethical stuff, fears they'll just overwhelm you, even eat you alive. You end up achieving way less than you could.
Exactly right. Wisdom is what you need to weigh those complex job offers or figure out when to speak up versus when it's smarter to just endure something quietly. And it helps navigate the constant flood of just noise and confusion we all face. Critically, it helps manage our emotional reaction to all that chaos.
Right, the chaos. Life always feels overwhelming sometimes. That's just baked in. How does wisdom help us deal with that inevitable flood of difficulty?
It lets you cultivate ataraxia, that's a Stoic term, often translated as stillness or tranquility. But the sources are careful here. This calm isn't about somehow controlling everything outside you or just wishing for good luck. It's something created entirely from within. It's the wise choice to manage your internal state, no matter what storm is raging outside.
And then they mentioned that this internal calm, this kind of courage, it's not just for you, is it? It actually spreads.
It really does. Yeah, that Ryan Holiday insight is mentioned. It's spot on. Your calm genuinely helps other people feel calmer. Your courage can help them feel braver. When you manage through wisdom to keep your head, you become a sort of anchor for others around you. So you end up making your little part of the world better just by managing yourself well.
Which leads us nicely into the third part. Application. Okay, we've got strength, we've got wisdom. How do we use them in the real world? Let's start with honesty, accountability, the superpower of truth, they call it.
Yeah, it's like a magic trick almost. Owning your mistakes. The advice is super direct. If you mess up, fess up.
Sounds simple, but fear of judgment, fear of consequences, that stops us a lot, doesn't it? But the sources promise this big payoff. When you actually own it, you say, yep, that was me, my fault, I take responsibility. A couple of things happen. Externally, people tend to respect you more for the honesty. And internally, apparently, you feel this huge sense of lightness, like a weight lifts. You shift from worrying about getting caught to focusing on actually learning from it. That ownership is powerful.
Yeah. Okay, next up, comparison. That's a huge trap, isn't it? Especially now. It's almost impossible not to look at someone else's life, their house, their job, their Instagram feed, and feel like you're falling short.
Yeah. And the sources give a pretty stark warning about where that leads. If you keep comparing yourself to others, the result is pretty much always bitterness.
Precisely. You just end up feeling jealous, frustrated, like you got a raw deal. The antidote, the path towards building that better character and wisdom, is to switch your focus. Compete against yourself, specifically yourself from yesterday. Are you a little bit better today? A little more disciplined? Maybe kinder? Maybe you learned something new compared to 24 hours ago? That internal competition, that leads to actually becoming better, which is the whole point of building this resilient life we're talking about.
Right. Okay, so now let's look outward again. We've worked on ourselves, now we try to help others. And the sources warn this is, well, trickier than it looks. It's not just about having good intentions, like, say, handing out cookies.
That cookie analogy is perfect because it highlights the gap, right, between what you intend and the actual impact. If you just drop off cookies without really thinking about the person, do they have allergies? Do they even like cookies? Maybe what they really need is just to feel seen or noticed. You might totally miss the mark. Every single human being, the sources stress, no matter their situation, has this fundamental need. They want to feel important. They want to feel like they matter.
Archbishop Desmond Tutu's point comes up here, too, that our own humanity depends on recognizing the humanity in others. You have to truly see the person you're trying to help.
And that connects to a really key insight from Peter Drucker about service, particularly in the nonprofit world. Drucker pointed out that the real challenge isn't just delivering a service, a meal, a place to sleep, some advice. The deeper, harder goal is to actually bring about a change in the person being helped, to help them become a doer, someone who takes action themselves, not just a passive user of your service.
That shift from user to doer, that sounds like the gold standard of really effective help. Is there a good example of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Consider the mission of an organization like uh, the Salvation Army. Their stated goal isn't just providing temporary shelter or food. It's explicitly about trying to make citizens out of the rejected. See how that reframes it?
Yeah.
It shifts the focus from just meeting an immediate need to fundamentally trying to transform someone's capability, their self-worth, their role in the community.
And there's a fascinating bit about marketing tied to this, isn't there? Even if you're offering something incredibly valuable, it's hard to get people to accept help if they don't trust it, or maybe if they haven't put something into it themselves.
Exactly. There's that great quote mentioned, it's much easier to sell the Brooklyn Bridge than to give it away.
Mm.
If something's offered totally free with no strings, people often get suspicious. They think it's worthless or there's a hidden catch. So effective service actually requires wisdom, too. You have to understand the recipient's mindset, build that trust, even when what you're offering is genuinely good for them.
Okay, so if we tie all this application stuff together, especially thinking about relationships, we land on the value of sharing. Joy gets bigger when you share it. Mark Twain's line is here. To get the full value of joy, you must have someone to divide it with.
And the flip side is true, too. Hardship feels lessen when it's shared, when it's divided, and this becomes the ultimate test of character in the people around you. Twain also gave us that perfect picture of a fair weather friend. He called a banker, a fellow who will lend you his umbrella when the sun is shining, but wants it back as soon as it starts to rain.
Yeah. Yeah, that nails it. It perfectly separates the superficial connections from the ones built on real character. Real friends are the ones who show up when it's pouring, right? They don't vanish when things get hard. They actually embody that strength and wisdom we've been building.
So it all kind of boils down to this one core truth for you, for the listener. Life will be messy. It will be chaotic, confusing, sometimes painful. That's just a given we have to accept.
Right. So the real question isn't if tough things are going to happen, because they absolutely will. The question is much more personal. What kind of person are you going to be when they do? Are you going to respond with bitterness and resentment? Or are you going to try to respond with character and hopefully some wisdom?
And that decision, that's the daily action point. Every single morning, you're adding more Lego bricks to your life's castle. You're defining who you are brick by brick. So the question to ask yourself, and it's very concrete, is what are you going to do today to get you to where you want to be tomorrow?
And the payoff for building your life this way, it's immediate and it ripples outward. It's not just about you. When you manage to stay calm inside while everything's going crazy outside, your calm genuinely helps others feel calmer. Your courage can spark courage in them. That ripple effect, that's how one person, just through their own choices and character, can genuinely change their corner of the world for the better. And
the really powerful choice you have right now is that you can choose to make the rest of your life the best part of your life. What happened in the past? It doesn't actually matter for this decision. Yesterday, last year, it's done. The choice to start building better with character and wisdom, that starts right now.